The publication history of Bomber King is almost as confusing as Wonder Boy. The game was developed by Famicom, a subsidiary of Sammy, who was a pachinko game manufacturer that was getting into video games at the time. And although Sammy would publish their own video games eventually, this one was handed off to Hudson, who named the game Bomber King and positioned it as a sequel to Bomberman. In the rest of the world, the game was published by Jaleco under the title Robowarrior. Famicom would eventually create a sequel for the Game Boy, which in Japan was titled Bomber King Scenario 2, and that one was published by Sunsoft. Sunsoft would publish that in the rest of the world, where they retitled it as Blaster Master Boy or Blaster Master Jr., depending on where in the world you were. So Bomber King has the weird distinction of being positioned as a sequel to two different franchises, and it had nothing to do with either of them. The story of Bomber King is that in the near future, the world is being frozen by evil aliens. And it's up to an android by the name of Knight to defeat the aliens and stop the freeze. Your goal in the game is to locate the key on each stage and make your way to the exit. But to find items and make your way through terrain, you have to bomb them out. You have a limited number of bombs, and you're given 20 at the start, though you don't have to take them if you don't want to. You drop a bomb by pressing the B button, and that makes you jump back away from it. The bomb detonates pretty quickly, and it damages terrain in one square in the ordinal directions, and just damages it on the diagonals. That blast radius does not improve, and there's a lot of terrain to destroy. Naturally, your own bombs hurt you, and if you try to run across them after you place one, you'll get caught in the explosion. There just isn't enough time for it. When you start out, getting hit by one of your own bombs is instantly fatal, too. To deal with the enemies around you, you do have a laser pistol. It has a pretty short range to start with, and that can be upgraded by getting these Ps. You press A to fire the laser pistol, and any enemy you defeat drops a blue bomb instead of the yellow ones that you drop. Picking those up gives you one bomb back. Flying enemies constantly spawn in at the right-hand side of the screen, so you're never in any danger of running out of bombs. If there's one thing I have to say about Bomber King, it's that it's hard. Much harder than I remembered. And it turns out there was a reason for that. The US version made this game much easier. The main thing it did was scale the damage way back. So in Robowarrior, you can actually survive a bomb blast, or getting shot by a missile. The batteries in the upper right-hand corner are your life bar. It's constantly draining, though it's also not too difficult to find additional batteries. Picking up this icon will restore 1 bar of health, but this E-shield is also a usable item, and it instantly refills you to maximum health. Your maximum health also increases. Roughly every 80,000 points, you get 1 extra battery capacity. There's a lot of items to find in Bomber King, and a lot of them go into your inventory. Bombs, batteries, and points just get applied instantly, of course. As does this invincibility shield. For the rest, you have to press select to bring up your inventory, and then choose what you want to use. Hit select again to return to the game, and pressing A will use the item. Candles and lamps are used to illuminate dark areas, of course. You'll find staircases to bonus areas as you explore, and these are always dark. They also take a long time to go through, and your candles and lamps don't last very long. So I wouldn't go down any of them unless you have 4 or 5 light sources. If you run out, you have to locate the stairway up in the dark, and that is not easy. Be careful about using up all of your light sources too. There's also a few regular stages that are dark. The stopwatch freezes all enemies in place for a few seconds, and the shoes increase your running speed. I actually found the most useful place for those to be that bonus area, since pausing the enemies and moving fast down there is a real advantage. The missile flies in a straight line, destroying all terrain it connects with. Use it when you'd have to use a lot of bombs to get through a section. The lightning bolt is a flash bomb that destroys all the enemies on the screen, while this icon is a 4-way shot that makes your gun go in all directions. This ring is a life preserver. You have to have it to cross water. Some of the rock walls that initially appear to be indestructible can be destroyed. It just takes multiple bombs in the exact right spot to do so. In fact, this is necessary on some stages. You might find a passageway out the top of a level. That'll take you into a bonus room where you can bomb these statues for extra icons. Some of the levels are infinite. In other words, they continue scrolling forever until you locate the right item. This treasure is what you have to locate, and it's always found in the same place. Once you have that, you'll break out of the loop. You'll still have to find the key at the end of the level, though. When you complete a world, you have an opportunity to buy additional power-ups. As a rule of thumb, these aren't worth it, but I might buy some light sources just to make sure you have them. You only have one life in Bomber King, and since a lot of attacks destroy you in one hit, the game can be pretty brutal. One slip up and you have to start all over again. You can continue from the main menu, but you lose all your health increases since your score resets to 0, and you lose some of your power-ups. If you manage to beat the first stage, a new option is added to the menu, Title Song. All that does is play the game's music while showing the lyrics to the song. If you want to know what the lyrics are, I'll play the whole karaoke mode at the end of the video. There was actually a karaoke contest for Bomber King. You could record yourself singing, and if it was good enough, you'd go on Takahashi Meijin's television show. Sadly, I couldn't find any video of the contest winners. I find Bomber King to be a frustrating game. It's well made, and I like a lot of the action to it, but it is so hard, and it's another game that relies on hiding everything to extend the gameplay. It took me nearly half an hour to beat the first stage, and there's 28 of them total before you reach the end. Continuing puts you back at the start of the current period, which is what they call worlds, and those are highly variable in length. The first one consists of only one real stage, the second 2, and by the time you're at the end of the game, it's 5 stages. This is a game that's far more difficult than it needs to be, and the things that make it hard aren't things that are interesting.